What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to The Breakdown. This is the series where I analyze subscriber gameplay to help you improve. In today's episode, we're going to be analyzing an exceptional team deathmatch gameplay on Nuketown from xKomachi. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's kick it off with the class he decided to use. So he's got the Weevil with Quick Draw and Fast Mags, which is an excellent setup. Personally, I like putting stock on all of my SMGs, but I realize that's not for everybody, and Fast Mags is not a bad choice at all. For perks, we have Flak Jacket, Fast Hands, Hardwired, Blast Suppressor, and Tac Mask. Now, all of these are great aside from Blast Suppressor on Nuketown, in my opinion. I feel like that is a bit of a waste of perk for this particular map. For any other map, I can definitely see it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But on Nuketown, things are usually so hectic that people aren't going to hear you boost, and they aren't going to see you boost on the minimap. And even if they do, it's not like they didn't know you were there anyways. So I really feel like you're wasting one and potentially even two perk points here because you are spending that extra point on the wild card to get the second tier 3 perk. Now I do realize that most people don't have like map specific classes or anything. And like I said, for any other map, Blast Suppressor is totally fine. But since we are playing on Nuketown here, I would recommend taking off Blast Suppressor and swapping it for something else, like maybe some concussions or something along those lines. Now getting into the gameplay here, like I said at the beginning, this is an exceptional gameplay, and you can really see that with how this person moves around the map and approaches different situations. So first off, thing I wanted to point out is he's pre-aiming and pre-firing where he knows enemies are going to be. Second, he's also attacking from different angles constantly. He's being unpredictable. You'll see he picks off a few kills there, and then he rotates around and tries to attack from this angle. Now he's got nobody over there, he's rotating around, he jukes this guy out by like showing himself and then coming to a different area and taking the shot on him. Once he's done getting those kills, he's moving on to the building already. So he's always on the move, but he's doing it in a smart way as well. He's not just blindly rushing around, he's checking before he does anything, and he's always alert, always got his gun up, and he's always ready to fire. Now, a lot of people are really good at this, and they're always on the move and always doing this kind of stuff, but they don't have patience, and that's where you see another one of this guy's strengths here. He knows when he has to be patient. He knows to just wait because these enemies are coming straight for him. He's just going to wait for them. Right there, he realizes that's not a situation he likes. He backs off. He just pre-aims this doorway until he completely heals up. But once he's healed up, he's pushing back out and ready to get back in the fight. He's not just camping for no reason or anything. He's sitting back and waiting until he heals up so that he can get back into that fight. Most people would be either too aggressive in that situation and they just run out and get themselves killed, or they'd be too defensive and they aren't pushing back out once they actually heal up. They just basically camp and wait and not get in the action at all. Now you'll notice here, he has no reason to push out of this building here. A lot of people will call him like a camper or something along those lines. But if the enemies keep running to you and you have the advantage, it would be dumb of you to push out and get yourself killed. So as long as these enemies keep coming for him, he's going to keep just patrolling this building and making sure none of them get in there. But you'll notice now he realizes he has an opportunity to push out. The enemies aren't quite coming up to him anymore. So he's getting ready to get back in the action immediately, which is excellent. So he knows when to wait and he knows when to push. And this is one of the big keys to becoming a top tier player. Now another thing I wanted to point out is his accuracy. His accuracy is definitely very good, especially considering he has such a high sensitivity. I'm not too sure what it's set at, but it's definitely above 10. And you'll just see how he snaps on a target. It almost looks like an aimbot, but it isn't. It's just lots and lots of repetition and practice. Now right here, he gets his first death. And I want to break this down a little bit, so we'll take it back a bit here. And the first indicator of this spawn flip that we can see is his teammate spawning on him right there. This means that there is definitely an enemy pushed into the back of what was their spawn. Otherwise, his teammate would have spawned all the way at the back of the map. This is just about having a very deep understanding of how the spawns work on Nuketown. The second indicator was his teammate that spawned just behind him and slightly to the left. That's also an indicator that the back spawns have been blocked off and therefore there's an enemy there. And then finally, you do see the enemy pop up on one UAV sweep there. But you can't really blame him for missing all of these things because there's so much action going on and he's actively like shooting other enemies. So I acknowledge the fact that you can't be looking at your minimap all the time. I just wanted to point out those little things that could have potentially saved his life in this scenario. Now getting back to it, you see pretty much the exact same thing that we saw at the beginning of the game, and this is really what separates him from an average player. He's always on the move, he's always got his head on a swivel, he comes up, he checks a choke point, fires a few shots at it, then he turns and looks a different way while taking cover. He's very, very hard to hit in this scenario, very hard to predict in this scenario, and he's always got his head on a swivel, so he's also very hard to flank in this scenario. So he's just kind of like a turret that just watches this middle of the map and nothing gets past him. And this is a very effective way to play the game. You'll notice that this is how the Mark of J actually plays this game most of the time, is he stays towards the middle of the map and he just locks things down. He doesn't let his enemies come to him, and he picks off people as they come through choke points like this. You'll also notice that he's not afraid to back away from a gunfight that he doesn't like. A lot of people really commit to gunfights, like they think, okay, I already got one hit marker on him, so I might as well fight this out till the end, even though he shot me twice already. He doesn't do that. He takes a few shots. If he doesn't like it, he just says nope, and he gets out of there. And then he tries again once he's healed up or once he has a better position on that guy. One other thing that you'll notice is he's always trying to pick up another gun to have in his secondary slot, which is an excellent practice for anybody that tends to go on longer streaks. This is something I screw up with my gameplay all the time. Oftentimes I'll get on a big streak and I don't really pay attention to my ammo count that much until it actually says low ammo, and then I'm thinking like, oh crap, I need to find a gun somewhere. He's doing that well before that low ammo thing pops up, so he's always ready to continue his streak with a gun that he found on the ground. He did this with a Can 44 earlier as well, and it definitely helped him out. So aside from that, there's really not much else to mention about this gameplay. It is a very simple gameplay style, but it does rely a lot on gun skill. If you don't have the gun skill to do this, you are probably just going to end up dying quite a bit. But if you have that gun skill, you'll notice, like with this guy, as well as with like the Mark of J, for instance, you just set up that wall at the middle of the map and you just destroy everything that comes towards you. And it's very, very effective. It allows you to get tons of kills without actually putting in too much effort. You'll notice he's never actually pushing towards the enemy's spawn. He's never really having to work too hard as far as his movement goes. He just sets up a wall and just picks the people off as they come to him. Now, I will say this is very effective against a certain type of enemy, but had the enemies switched up their playstyle, or had they been a little bit better at winning their gunfights and everything, this playstyle becomes a lot less effective. So that is saying something about the enemies he's playing against. They're obviously not the greatest players out there, but it's very rare you're going to get a gameplay this good against really, really good players anyways. As for how to counter this playstyle, if somebody is doing this to you, a big thing is slow down a little bit and just make sure you're using cover effectively against this person and try to pre-aim and just wait till he pops out so you can pick him off. The guys he was playing against, they were very rarely doing this. They were basically just running straight through all the choke points that he was pre-aiming, and they had no cover and no ability to beat them because his gun skill was simply superior. So slow down against these types of players and you might be able to shut them down. So that's going to wrap it up for today's really quick breakdown. If you have a gameplay you'd like me to analyze for a future episode, all you have to do is send me a link to an unlisted YouTube video that's at least 720p in quality with no commentary and no music in the background. Send a link to that to the email address that's in the description below, and I will have a look and possibly analyze it in a future episode. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.